Okay. Okay, what I'm going to try to do here is get signed into Microsoft Teams for the first time as a new user. I'm opening up Microsoft Edge, my browser, and I'm going to navigate to teams.microsoft.com for the URL. And I'm going to get this Microsoft login prompt, and I haven't used the new account, so you'll probably have to, maybe you've done this before, maybe you haven't. Oh, there's my co-workers thing. Okay, so I have a new thing. So first.last is the email address at TriplexWE.com. So you would have received one with your first name dot last name at TriplexWE.com. I'm gonna say next. And I have on my clipboard the password that was sent. Yours looks probably something like this, but different. Okay, and it's prompting me to update. So I'm going to re-enter that current password and put in a new password. So far, pretty normal stuff. Let's see what happens next. I need to know more about me. Download. Oh, okay, so now they're wanting to let me into Microsoft Teams, and I'm going to just use the link to use the web app. You can download the application and install it on your computer, but it's probably just as easy to just use the little web app. Wow, so I'm actually into Teams already. So here it is. This is Microsoft Teams, and when you log in, you're going to see the Triplex Training Cohort 1, which everyone is a part of. And Microsoft Teams, this particular application, it organizes each team into multiple channels. The channels of our cohort are General, there's Celebrate Bones, and there's the Insight Hearth. Those are the channels. So let's take a look at the General channel first. The General channel contains a feed of like notices that I'll post from time to time, maybe, if there's something that might be helpful to put in here. It's just a feed, and then there's files. In the files area, I'm going to be putting the course materials so that you have this available here. And then also it includes, well, take a look at this, the materials. These are the course materials that I'd been emailing out a link to them previously, but here this is just a different way to access that same information. And it's hopefully, maybe it's going to be good to have it like this. It's kind of centralized. The TriplexWE toolbox, this tab right here is actually, it's loading here. This is a OneNote notebook, and maybe you haven't heard of OneNote before, but OneNote is a Microsoft application that allows you to capture data and then organize it in a hierarchical structure. And in the structure that they offer is they allow you to add sections, and then within each section you can add multiple pages. And so the sections that I've added to this TriplexWE toolbox are the Badger Tracks, the Brainstorm, Dream Drops, the Journal Vault, and the Wonder Board. And we will get into these more deeply at a later point, but I wanted to focus first on the Brainstorm part. And the Brainstorm part is going to kind of be a digital representation of what our group as a life unit has accumulated in terms of its knowledge of resources, and then we'll talk later about opportunities and desire, but I'm just going to focus on the resources for now. So the 2 pages here for resources, if you want to experiment with actually coming in and adding something to them, everyone could do this, and this is a way that we can just create kind of this our own class notebook that we're all sharing and adding to. I hope it could be a really useful, fun way of engaging with the material, and then having something really concrete that we can all take with us as we continue our lives. So the resources, physicality, body exercises page at the top here, I put a little note about what it is I hope the content will be. It's going to be up to us to see if the organization that I'm suggesting here is actually working. If it's not working for folks and we want to do something different, we can totally change it and make it anything we want. This is totally customizable. So the body exercises area, though, is where I thought it could be fun to list out different practices and specific exercises that we want to share with the group. And I'm going to take an opportunity now to say, oh wow, Teams, it's got this OneNote plugged into this application here, but it's kind of small. You can use this button here to expand it so that you have a lot more screen landscape available. It makes it easier to read. So anyway, I had previously, in a previous recording that didn't work out, started typing in a little body practice here. So I might actually write out the steps to the exercise, and fill this in. And then someone else can come along and put in some body practice that they would like to share, something that's really cool. And so at the end of the 16 weeks, we could have some really interesting, cool stuff in here. And maybe we will have organized it and categorized it in different ways. And it just can be super interesting and cool and fun. So in the area or the page that I'm calling resources physicality, this page would be a little bit more like resources for, like I have here for, what I've done is, rather than it just be like a big mix of all the different resources, I tried to put sections within this page. So I've got co-regulation with beings, and there I've got descriptions here, resources for interactions and touch with other animated life units. And I tried to start adding a couple of examples here to give you an idea of what I had in mind. If it's too confusing or you need it to be different, let's talk about it, or just change it and let it be what it needs to be to support us in our process. But so co-regulation with beings is a section, co-regulation with the environment, and specifically resources for basic physical needs, compared to this co-regulation with the environment, which are more like resources for supportive living environments. These are more like, so this first one is more like basic stuff, basic survival needs, and then the co-regulation with the environment, the supportive living environments, is a little bit more like, these are the bonus things that we can do with our environment. So maybe things like music. I've got to create like an ambiance in your space. Maybe there's design, interior design resources that people want to share in here. And okay, then I have a section here for self-regulation, like nutritional resources, self-regulation, exercise. This would, I'm thinking more like exercise programs, like if there's a specific teacher or a book or something that has to do with exercise that you want to share, compared to the other page of body exercises, which would be like, body exercise of, this is a particular, like, the Hindu squat, a particular body exercise, compared to like a weight training program or a resource like Athlean X, a whole big system on this page. Okay, so I've got self-regulation posture. There's a bunch of different postural, like I can add in right now. We can add in, it's interesting, Felden Krace is one that I thought of just now. I can share that, Becca. And self-regulation, disease treatment and prevention. There's so many things that can go in here. You know, maybe people haven't heard of chiropractic or something, you know, like maybe people whatever we end up putting there. And then super illumination resources. Okay, so that's the OneNote area, and I want to point out that so we can go back and see our team, our whole channel, or our whole team with the several channels that are here. So Celebrate Bones as a channel. This is meant to be an area where we can just create these posts where we want to share things like gratitude, recognizing others, accomplishments. This is sort of an announcements like page of that we can just use if we choose. And then the other channel, which is the one that I'm kind of personally just like encouraging people to use more. But of course, if the other one you want to use it too and you think that's cool, great. But the Insight Hearth, I feel like is really has a lot of potential for the class to be really nourishing. And the idea with this is it's a feed where we can share our inspiration and insight. So maybe you can post things that you learn, maybe like pictures of your artwork or poetry, things that end up that just come to you that might be inspirational to others. I think this could be a really a valuable experience to kind of co-create. Okay, the other thing I wanted to point out, back on this general tab, I was talking about the TriplexWE toolbox is this OneNote file. I wanted to share that up here in the left, this is everyone has basic business account with Microsoft 365. It includes all these apps, so these are all under your particular user. You can create files and work with them. And one of these apps is the OneNote. So you can come to OneNote and see the TriplexWE toolbox here. It's the same notebook, but it's going to just maybe give a slightly different view, and maybe you like working from this particular app instead of the other. And the thing that's a little bit different about this one, I'm pretty sure, is that you can click on this down arrow to choose a different notebook. By default, all of you have your own notebook that's called My Notebook, but you can add new notebooks too. So I'm just sharing this because it will kind of introducing it. After several weeks, we're going to come back to OneNote, and I will be showing I'll be showing some more tools in the toolbox. So for now, I think that's good though. I hope you enjoyed the introduction and can find you can find teams.microsoft.com login with your TriplexWE.com email address and take a look. And if you want to, come over here to the TriplexWE toolbox and take a look in the brainstorm for these two resources pages for physicality, if there's anything that you would like to, any resources you would like to share. Thank you everyone. Have a wonderful night.